Hey everyone, we are here for a wealth building series talk, and today I have Kathi Jesse from the Jesse Group, who I just love, respect, and admire in every area of life. And I'm so excited to interview Kathi. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm glad to be here.
Well, tell the audience today a little bit about you. And I know today's topic in particular is going to be building wealth using real estate as a vehicle. As you know, I help people make extra money. And then when they make extra money, what can they do with it? And so, one of the great ways that I've seen people over the years build wealth has been through real estate. And I would love to hear from you, what you've seen over the years. How long have you been in real estate now?
So 31 years. And it's interesting. I was a fairly new agent. I had been in real estate about 5 years. And I picked up a client and he bought a property from me and wasn't going to sell the property he was moving from. And so we got to talking and about, I don't know, 6 months, a year later, he called me again. Now he had a full-time job and he was buying another property. And fast forward about his third property into it, I said, John, what's your goal here? And he said, well, my goal is to quit my 9 to 5. And I said, really? And he goes, yeah, my goal is that these income properties will become my sustainable income. And I thought, oh my gosh, well, I was making good money on the commissions from the sale. I wasn't continuing any wealth building. And I thought, I'm doing this all wrong. That was a wake up call for me. And so then and there, I came home to my husband and we started talking about it and we started buying properties. And we bought and sold uh, probably 28 properties over the course of our marriage. And we have um, done it with the idea to buy and hold, not buy and sell. So even though we've sold them, we've parlayed them into other properties with the goal being that that would be our retirement. As self-employed people, that's what we wanted to do because while I love what I do and I honestly cannot see ever retiring, the fact that I would not have to work if I needed to is the goal. And by far and away, most of the millionaires in the United States have built their wealth through real estate.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, I know my neighbor just down the street literally sold for an $800,000 profit after purchasing her home 4 years ago.
Yeah.
So in 4 years, she was able to make quite a good investment. And I know there's different ways of building wealth through real estate. So you said buying and holding. Of
Mhm.
course, they're going to get the appreciation. And in the meantime, um, rental income. I don't know if there's anything you wanted to add to that and the other ways that people have been able to make money through real estate.
Well, for sure. So you can, if you buy and hold and the asset grows and you're renting it out, someone else is helping pay the mortgage off. It's the best way to leverage. If you have $500,000 and you want to invest it in the stock market, you have to put all $500,000 in to get the benefit of that money growing at $500,000. Not
Right.
so in real estate. You can do it with as little as, if you've ever been in the military service, you can start with zero down, and you can leverage that wealth. And in fact, our military um, is not aware of the benefits they have while they're in the military. They can move, they can get an owner occupied loan, and 6 months later get orders and have to move, get another owner occupied loan, and they can keep those properties. That's an excellent opportunity for people who are serving our country to help build their wealth as well. But one of the things I did want to touch on is when you sell a property, you run the risk of paying capital gains tax if not done properly. So in order to keep the wealth and keep all of it, there are mechanisms in place that the government has outlined in our tax code, and that's through the 1031 exchange. And that's a very popular way to defer taxes indefinitely. So
Wow. Well, talking about only needing a little bit down to put on a property instead of investing your entire life savings, let's just
Right.
say. I recently heard you say that people can even use cryptocurrency to purchase real estate.
That's right. That's right. Very few people are aware of this, and it's because the blockchain and cryptocurrency are fairly new to us as lay people anyway. Um, there are very few companies that will allow those transactions. You used to have to find, I mean, you can always barter, right? Bartering's been around for thousands of years, and I can trade a car for real estate. I could trade a timeshare for real estate. I could even trade my own real estate for real estate. But now, you don't have to find somebody who's willing to take cryptocurrency in order to purchase or sell with cryptocurrency. And you don't have to cash that out, which is, I mean, you can always turn cryptocurrency into cash, theoretically,
Mhm.
right? But there's a reason you don't do that right up front. There's a loss and a cost, et cetera, et cetera. Well, in the past, unless you did that or found somebody who was willing to accept your cryptocurrency, whatever platform that was, you didn't have that option. Today, we have that option. So it's great. I can talk about it more in detail if somebody wants it, but just knowing that vehicle's out there is awesome.
Yeah. Well, geez. I mean, I also know that, even though you're based in Southern California, that there may be better potential opportunities to invest as far as having cash flow properties, rental properties throughout the country. And I've
Absolutely.
seen you put people into rental properties all throughout the country. I've every time I talk to you, you're on the phone. I'm sorry, you're on a plane going somewhere because you're listing properties all across the country. You know, um, Obviously there's great deals there where people could probably cash flow more. I don't know if there's anything you want to say about that. That
Sure. Well, so the bottom line is I want to help people wherever they are at. And that doesn't mean necessarily geographically where they are at, but financially where they're at. I had a client, for example, in California renting a home, self-employed attorney renting a home with her two children, and she wanted to desperately buy. She couldn't save fast enough. So we looked at how much she had down and we worked backwards. Where can we go to get you some appreciation and cash flow while you're building your savings? And so she took that amount of money that she had, and we found her a place in Kentucky. She wasn't looking for Kentucky, but we reverse engineered the formula so that she could buy something, get the benefit of the tax write-off, get double benefit because you get depreciation on an investment, get the equity, and then also get some cash flow. So it was a beneficial, that's not her long-term goal to stay in Kentucky. Her long-term goal would be to pull the equity and bring it back out so she can buy a home for her and her kids. But that's what we're working on. And by and large, we have multiple brokers licenses. I have 2 international certifications. So you don't get the benefit internationally of tax benefit, but I have a lot of clients that are looking to improve their retirement lifestyle. They're looking in Spain, they're looking in
Ooh,
Portugal, um, Costa Rica. So there's other areas where people might want to go for retirement or whatever their opportunity is, and we're more than able to help them.
nice, nice. Well, I've even seen you talk about how parents use real estate as a college planning strategy to pay for college, but then they also end up having this great retirement, extra retirement home or whatever they want to do with that. How does that
Yeah.
work? So my kids are 14, 13, 7, and they're all going to go to college. They're all going to probably be very expensive.
Yeah.
So what advice would you give to me for that?
Well, so the really smart folks are starting now. You don't have to wait till your kid goes to college. When your son or daughter goes off to college, they're going to have to pay to live somewhere. They're either going to have to pay to live in the dorm or they'll pay to live off-site in housing. Now, you can get a loan if your child is living in the property, that it's called a kitty loan, kitty condo, I think is the slang term, but it's an FHA product where as long as your child is living in the property, they don't have to have a job or any income. that they're living in the property and you're co-signing, really, you're the borrower, you can put 3.5% down, which is a little amount down, and then you lock in their housing costs. Well, what if you don't know where your child's going to go to school? It really doesn't matter. If you do, all the better. Many times you can avoid paying out of state tuition if your child goes out of the state of California, for example, and you live in California, by owning property in that state. So that's a big benefit.
Hmm.
But you've got a child who's going to have a roommate, maybe two, maybe three, and those parents are helping pay for that condo while your child is in school. And at the end of the 4 years, maybe five, depending on how long it takes, and if you have multiple students, you have multiple children going to the same university, that doesn't often happen, but it does happen, then you get the benefit long term. But when your child graduates and they get a job somewhere, that house can be sold. You can 1031 the equity into the place where they're going to be living, where they're going to be working, and now they have a down payment for their house,
Wow.
and you've locked in those costs. It really is great because, as we all know, if you look in the rearview mirror 20 years, 10 years, 5 years, everything was less expensive. It's not going to get cheaper, it's going to get more expensive.
Hmm. Right. Well, that brings me to my next question is like, I know people try to time the market all the time. I wish I would have bought in this time. I wish I would have sold during this time. But in California, in particular, why is now still a good time, regardless of the interest rate?
Well, because right now we have a unique opportunity, especially today. We're in the month of November, and this is by far and away the best time of the year to buy real estate, because people who have their home on the market during Thanksgiving and Christmas really need to sell. They're not doing it because they want people traipsing through their house when the holidays. It's inconvenient, it's not fun. Likewise, buyers looking to move during that time are serious buyers. So you couple those things together, a serious buyer and a serious seller, you've got a pretty good scenario going, but you don't have as much competition on either side. Now, with the interest rates being steady but higher than they've been historically, we have less people out there being able to buy. Again, less competition. Once the interest rates drop, and now with the election results in, we feel like the interest rates will be going down next year. That's going to cause a feeding frenzy like we haven't seen in several years, because the people that have been waiting on the sidelines, renting because they couldn't afford the payment of the interest rate, the payment's going to come down, and that's going to bring their buying power up, and that will cause a bidding war like we haven't
Wow.
seen for several years. That's my opinion. So right now, if you're thinking about it, there are ways to bring that interest rate down for the interim. So what we like to say is marry the property and date the rate. That rate will come down, you'll be able to refinance, but buy it now. And there's also a 3-2-1 buy down option. That means if the interest rate's 6%, you start off at 3%, next year it's 4, next year it's 5, and then the fourth year it's 6% up till the 30th year. That's another way for people, especially young people or people who are young in their profession or expecting a raise or some kind of an adjustment, maybe an inheritance, who knows what the situation is. That is one way for them to be able to afford something now and refinance later.
Yeah. Wow. I love it. And so I guess what else would you like to leave our audience with today as far as building wealth using real estate as a vehicle? What kind of advice could you give?
Well, if we haven't touched on any of the scenarios, people, maybe they don't have children, the children are grown, they don't want to talk about a college condo, they don't know where to buy. What I often say is, where do you go on vacation? Do you visit family out of town often? Because you don't have to buy a house where your family lives, but every time you take a trip to visit your family, like I'm working with a client right now that once a year they travel to Texas to visit their in-laws for Thanksgiving. It'd be nice, they said, if that trip was tax deductible. Well, guess what? if they have a property in that area, every time they go to check on their property, their airline tickets, their motel or hotel, their meals, their car rental, all are tax deductible, where they're going anyway. So why not pick that market to have a rental property? Excuse me. So that's another option. There's a myriad of wealth building opportunities out there, and I am happy to tailor something when we talk.
I love it. I love it. Plus, I've seen people that have purchased years ago, and then just like my neighbor, boom, it appreciated. Even when they purchased at what people would have considered the worst time, buying at the peak, but it still went up over the years. Um, I think that I've seen so many people that have done really well, just stepping in and just making the investment and just doing it.
Yep,
So
you just
I
have
love
to
it.
act. I do believe in diversity. So I believe in diversifying your real estate portfolio and your financial portfolio. But um, by and large, this is the best investment period, because since the beginning of the stock market and since the beginning of those stats being taken, real estate has outperformed the stock market.
Wow. I believe it. I've seen it with my own eyes. I've seen it happen all around me, and with our own recent investment as well, purchasing our home too. So that's incredible. Well, thank you so much. Where
Thank
can
you.
people find you if they have questions, want advice, or want to start investing in real estate?
So they can reach me by going through my website if they'd like. I have video testimonials from clients. I have attorneys, other realtors that are my clients, and just average folks on there. So that's a good way to hear from other people. My website is realizeadream.com, and you can text me on my phone, 949-439-4731. And that's another way to get in touch with me.
Yes, realize a dream. Contact Kathy. She's amazing. I have seen
Thanks,
her
Grace.
transform people's portfolio over the years. You've just been such a wonderful friend. I'm so grateful for you. God bless you and your family. And please go out there and continue to do your amazing work helping the people. Thank you
Thank
so
you so
much.
much. I appreciate this opportunity so much.
It was good to see you. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Bye.